Moving on now to the 5-note away perfect fourth. 5-note away perfect fourth. And if we look at it from a chord construction, because now we're looking at the fourth, which is an even number, we skipped it. So we went from the 1, 3, 5, skipping the 4, then the 7, which is the last note in our scale. And then we go around the horn to a 9 instead of calling it a 2, which it really is. And then we go to the 11, which is going to be equivalent to the 4. So from a chord construction, we might call it a 5-note away perfect 11th. From a scale construction, it's going to be a 5-note away perfect fourth. That's how I'm thinking of it, at least. I'm not getting into octaves here, as you know. And so if it's a perfect fourth, we've seen the perfect fourth multiple times because it's perfect, and therefore one of the things you might think that is that it's going to be in more of the modes. So most of the modes are going to have the same perfect first, fourth, and fifth. Some of them don't, right? I think that, what is it, the Lydian doesn't have a perfect fourth. It's a weird one. I don't play it all that much anyways. I'm trying to not call it weird and give it some attention, even though it has an augmented fourth, which is strange, you know, but I try to accept it for what it is. Anyways, so we got a 5-note away perfect fourth. So that's what we're going to be going into here. And the inverse is going to be a 7-note away perfect fifth. So when I say it's 5 notes away, that's the distance in half steps. The perfect fourth represents the position in the scale. And then we could call it, again, 5-note away perfect 11 from a chord construction. Okay, let's say we go on the same string. It's 5 notes, so I could still count that out. It's a shorter distance going up than the inverse behind it. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. So there it is. Now notice, of course, if I can go up 5, 12 notes in the alphabet, the inverse would be 12 minus 5 would be 7 back. So if I went behind it, it would be back here. That's going to be harder to reach. But again, sometimes I might not have any room to go up. I might be at the end of the guitar, and if I want to find it on the same string, if it's 5 notes forward, it's 7 notes back, right? You feel me? You feel me, man? I'm going up a string. Feeling the vibe, the tone, I'm gonna go up a string. So now we're gonna go, if we go up a string and I look for a distance of a 5-note away perfect fourth, I have to look at the inverse distance. 12 minus 5 is 7. 7-note away perfect fifth. These two are inverses of each other. Notice if they made one perfect, I'm imagining historically they said the perfect fifth is in every chord and therefore it has a perfect sound and we should call it perfect to distinguish it from everything else. But then when they did that, of course, they have to say, well, wait, the inverse has to then be equivalently perfect or it doesn't make sense because it's the same distance just measured from a different perspective. So you'd think, so then of course these two, both of them have to be perfect, you would think, right? That's how I imagine it happening. So it's going to be -5 between the strings if I go up 1, and then if I go back more negative, -6, -7. So that's like a power chord from the perspective of going top to bottom. So -5, 6, 7. From the perspective of a D, that would be a 7-note away perfect fifth. But from the perspective of the A to the D, 5-note away perfect fourth is what I'm thinking about it. All right, and so that means that if I go up 1 string, the 5-note away perfect fourth will always be 2 frets back unless I cross the fault line. If it's 2 frets back, that also means that it should be 12 minus 2 or 10 frets forward, just to point that out. So right, if I went 10 frets forward, which is way the heck out there, then it would be way out there, right? That's kind of unreachable. But we should always have something in reach if I can go both ways, right? On somewhere in the middle of the guitar. Okay, so what if I do cross the fault line? Well, if I can only cross the fault line if I go up 1 string if I'm on the B string. So if I was on like the B string, and then I went up because this tectonic plate shifted to the right, it would be a further distance. So the rule is, if I go up 1 string the 5-note away perfect fourth is 2 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which only happens on the G string, in which case if I go up 1 fret, the 5-note away perfect fourth is 3 frets back. All right then, let's go up 2 strings and repeat the process. If I go up 2 strings, then I'm looking for a 5-note away perfect fourth, which we could also call a 5-note away perfect 11th. And we have to look for the inverse distance if I'm going above the string. 12 minus 5 is 7. And I also know that the perfect fourth has an inverse of a perfect fifth because the perfects are inverses of each other. They're right in the middle. They're inversing each other. So it's going to be -5, -10, and then going this way goes back towards the 0. So 9, 8, 7. Let's count it out this way. So -5, -10, 9, 8, 7. Boom. Top to bottom, D to A would be a 7-note away perfect fifth, but if I look at the perspective from the A to the D, I'm thinking 5-note away perfect fourth. So 5-note away perfect fourth, so that means if I go, and so by the way, that means if I go up 2 strings, the 5-note away perfect fourth is always going to be 3 frets forward. So that also means that if I went up 2 strings and I go the other way, it's going to be 12 minus 3, which would be 9 frets back, which I don't have room for. That would be across the fretboard back this way. So unless I cross the fault line, now I could cross the fault line on either the B or the E string. So if I was down here somewhere and I went up 2 strings, then I would be here. So the rule is, because this fault line moved up, if I go up 2 strings, the 5-note away perfect fourth is 3 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, in which case, and that only that happens on the B and the E string, in which case if I go up 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect fourth is 2 frets forward. So let's go down a string and see what happens then. So if I go down a string, I'm looking, I don't have to look for the inverse now. It's all, everything is straightforward. If I go down 1 string, 5-note away perfect fourth is just right underneath it because that's what 5 notes are. So 5-note away perfect fourth right underneath it. Boom. All right. So that means that if I go down 1 string, the 5-note away perfect fourth is right underneath it. That means that to get to another one, it would have to be 12 frets up or back, right? Which is kind of a ways, so right underneath it. So that means, unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on like the G string, so if like I was on the G string, then this tectonic plate shifted to the right, therefore it's going to be up here. So that means the rule is if I go down 1 string, the 5-note away perfect fourth is in the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which can only happen on the G string if I go down only 1 string, in which case if I go down only 1 string and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect fourth is 1 fret forward. Okay, what if I went down 2 strings and crossed the fault line? I'm not scared of the fault line. Yeah, there's a little bit of a crack in the ground. You think I'm scared of a crack? No, I'll step on the cracks. Some people, they try to avoid stepping on the cracks, but not me, man. If I step on the crack, it doesn't even slow me down. I've got like big wheels, shoes on, just go right over it, no problem. So if I go down 2 strings, it's going to be 5, and then fault line 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So if I do that, we're going to say, okay, here, 5, 10, 5, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect fourth is 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back. Now what if I don't cross the fault line? I wouldn't cross the fault line if I was either on the E or the A string. I could still go down 2 strings and not have to step on that crack or over the crack, however you want to deal with that crack, because I wouldn't even have to cross it in the first place. Some people, they're scared of stepping on the crack, so they step over the crack. But then there's other people that just don't even go to the crack at all. That'll just stop them, and they'll say, I'm not even gonna go because I might step on it maybe. So I don't know. So here we're gonna say then if I go down, so the rule is if I go down 2 strings, then the 5-note away perfect fourth is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back unless I cross the fault line. which would happen 2 out of the 3 times on the A or the D string out of the 3 possible times that I can go down 3 strings, unless I think about going around the top of the guitar, in which case, if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect fourth would be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back. All right, that was clearly spoken as possible. I think I have. Let's go down 3 strings. If I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line just to finish this bad doggy up, it's going to be 5, and then up here to 10, and then 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, and then 4, 5. Let's count it out this way. So if I'm here, 5, 10, and then 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 4, 5. Boom, there's the D. So if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect fourth is 3 frets forward. But what if I don't cross the fault line? The only time I wouldn't cross the fault line is if I was on the top string. Otherwise, I would cross the fault line, or there wouldn't be enough strings unless I go around the horn. So if I was on the top string and I go down, so the general rule is going to be, if I go down 3 strings, the 5-note away perfect fourth will be 2 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which happens on the A or the D string, which are the only 2 out of 3 ways you could go down 3 strings, in which case, if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 5-note away perfect fourth is 3 frets forward. All right,